my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, November 11, 2024, and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen, that's a Dutch word for my crafty adventures, with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, let's start with what I'm wearing because I'm quite overheated already. It is a bit of a grey and sunny day, sun and then a little bit of rain and then a little bit of sun, and not so low temperatures today. But I am wearing my Sunday cardigan and I really wanted to show it in the podcast because it is a cardigan I made, I guess, in 2022? No, 2023. I'm not quite sure. I didn't check. But I live in this cardigan at the moment. It is really my favorite cardigan and it's also really good cardigan weather. Last week was a typical November week weather-wise, I guess. Although for the Netherlands and I think for a lot of other countries around us. With a lot of fog and a lot of grey and not much sun. And every now and then it was really chilly. Although it was not really... We didn't have really low temperatures, but it was chilly anyway. So I am putting my cardigan on and off all day long. When I'm sitting and knitting or doing computer work, I get cold and then I put my warm cardigan on. And when I'm busy vacuuming or biking or hiking or whatever, I don't really hike, it's more walking, whatever, I get warm and then the cardigan gets out. And it's also my jacket these days. I only put on an extra shawl and maybe a pair of fingerless mittens when I go outside, and that's enough. So it's really, it was really my favorite cardigan this week. And also one of my favorite cardigans ever I knitted, I guess. It is the Sunday cardigan. It's a pattern by Petite Knit. I did knit it in Voskamp. It's the big sister of Lettknit. It's an Icelandic yarn, woolly yarn, very rustic, very Icelandic, and it keeps you dry and warm anytime, I guess. It feels like that. And it's a bulky weight yarn. When you knit two strands of Lettknit together, you have the same gauge as when you knit with one strand of Voskamp. And it makes it also quite a quick knit. I did go down needle sizes for this cardigan. I always go down actually because I'm a very relaxed knitter. It sounds more positive than I'm a loose knitter. Loose has a bit of a negative taste. Relaxed, that's really good. So if I'm correct, you can check my notes. I will link down my Ravelry page in the show notes as always. If I am correct, I knitted on a 5 and 6 millimeter needle instead of 6 and 7, but it is actually quite a quick knit. You knit it top down, back and forth. I think I would call it beginner friendly. It's a very nice and easy pattern. I didn't do buttons. It has a button band. You knit it as you go. No? Yes, you knit it as you go. It's been a while since I knitted it, but yes, you knit it as you go. And I didn't add buttonholes because I want to wear it as an open fronted cardigan, and that was absolutely okay. Sometimes you regret it afterwards, but this time I didn't. I did knit this cardigan quite short at my first try, so it was, I guess, this length. But I had some Voskamp left and I really couldn't stop thinking I wish it would be longer. So I ripped out the ribbing and knit some extra, I think. Quite some part. I think it was like this and now it's like this. And it's really warm around my bum. And I really love it. So it's perfect. I can't remember the colorway I used. It's a bit of a grayish brown, but it really goes good with anything. No, with everything. So it's really a good color. And I would love to make another one in really dark chocolate brown because that's absolutely my favorite color. But I'm doubting about it. I am knitting another cardigan, my Sealy cardigan. I don't have it with me. I only knit a few rows, but it's also in a darker colorway. And I'm a bit doubting because it's absolutely my favorite cardigan, this one. But do you need more than one favorite cardigans in your life? I don't know if it's maybe a little bit too much. I think I still want it. but I am doubting about it. Yeah, so we shall see what winter 24-25 will bring. Maybe a chocolate brown one. But I will put it out right now because, as I said, it is a little bit warm right now. The sun is shining again. And when the sun is shining, it gets quite warm in our knitting office. Actually, just our bedroom, but during the day and especially on Mondays, it is my knitting office. And I can tell you more about my socks. I am wearing hand knitted socks too. I always wear them these days, paired with a pair of a maillot. In Dutch we call it maillot, or that's actually a French word, with my tights, I guess. My eye is tearing. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can't see it, but I have a tearing eye. I don't know why. Yesterday it was tearing all day. It didn't stop and I wasn't crying. I did check, am I crying? No, you're not. I wasn't sad at all. And it's only my left eye. So I searched for it. As I told you last week, I always love to search for meanings. And of course you have the physical reasons why your eye can tear. But yeah, they were not satisfying for me. So then I searched for the spiritual meanings and I found an article which told me that my soul is trying to communicate with me. That's when your eye is tearing, your soul tries to communicate. So it is happening right now, but I don't know what my soul wants to tell me. So yeah, it makes me laugh anyway. So that's a good thing, I guess, because it is annoying, a tearing eye. I'm wearing mascara, not waterproof mascara. Yeah, I don't know, and it's just annoying. But it's better than yesterday, so I think it will. I think my soul is tired of trying to communicate with me. I did spend some quiet time this morning, so there was a lot of opportunity to communicate with me. But maybe she was sleeping by then. It was too early in the morning. Who can tell? But I am wearing hand knitted socks anyway. A lovely pattern. It is from a Dutch designer. Her name is Ineke, and she also calls herself Lunaster Knits. And I'm quite sure the pattern is available in English because I don't knit Dutch patterns, because I think for me they are horrible and very hard to understand. The English knitting language is much more clear and easy for me to follow, and it was quite a weird experience in the beginning, but I never use Dutch patterns anymore. And it's a lovely sock pattern with a tiny little lace chart. And when you are wearing your hand knitted socks over tights, and especially when the contrast in color is quite big, I am wearing black tights, and this colorway of the sock yarn is really beautiful. It's hand-dyed sock yarn by a Dutch dyer. Her name is Marianne from Atelier Lindenlicht. She will also visit Knit to Purl too. She will sell her yarn there. And she gives her hand-dyed colors the name of gemstones. And this one is called Red Tiger Eye. And I really love the color. I love the name. I love the meaning of the gemstone. So it's really nice to have that on my feet. So yeah, really happy for that. I don't remember the name of the pattern, but I will link my project page down below and all the information so you can look at it if you are interested. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I will do that a lot. Maybe my eye is looking horrible with all the mascara here, but I'm sorry, it is what it is today. I'm also wearing a new dress. It is a Hinterland lookalike. It's not a handmade dress. I must confess, I thought I would never bought a linen dress again, since I discovered I can make them myself, but I did. It is from the brand Simply Grey, and I think they are from Latvia. I'm not quite sure, but it's a lovely brand, and they make the most beautiful linen garments. I have several garments in my wardrobe, linen skirts and also another linen dress in a chestnut colorway. A few weeks ago, one of my favorite shops, online shops in the Netherlands, was celebrating its birthday. The shop is called Little Shop Around the Corner, and the shop owner is the lovely Karin, or in English Karen. In Dutch we say Karin. And she was celebrating the 15th birthday of her shop, and she was giving every customer a 20% discount. And she also shared it with me, and I have a lot of lovely stuff from her shop. Little Shop around the corner sells a lot of lovely things for little baby and children, but also when you are a grown-up, the linen garments, the woolly garments, wool, the bracelets and the necklaces, and a lot of other nice stuff. Yeah, really one of my favorites. So I didn't need anything, and it's very dangerous when you don't need anything. You will take a look anyway, because before you know, your online basket is filled with all the stuff you didn't really need. But it was so hard jumping, and I saw one chocolate brown linen dress in my size, and I decided, okay, let's do it. I must confess, I think the dresses are quite pricey, and that's a good thing because it's a sustainable brand. There was a cuff. I did cut it out, I think. It's a sustainable brand with good circumstances for the people who are creating the garments, and also the fabrics are organic. That comes with a certain price, so I think that's really deserved, but it's still a lot of money for me. But I had the money, and I was working very hard. I didn't have time to sew a dress my own, so I thought, okay, let's do it. And it's chocolate brown. Last year, Karen gifted me such a lovely dress in the color chestnut, and that was one size bigger with the recommendations of Simply Grey, but they are quite oversized white linen dresses. And as I told before, I guess I am a small person, so when I'm wearing too big oversized garments, I'm looking a little bit weird, or I am feeling a little bit weird. And when you are feeling weird, you are looking weird because it's in your eyes. It doesn't matter if you are feeling good, you are looking good. Doesn't matter what you wear. It's all about the eyes and the attitude. When it's too big, I'm not feeling comfortable. So I decided to pick one size smaller, and that's better because now it's a little bit more fitted and it suits me better. But the other dress is still perfect anyway. I really love to wear it, so it's not a problem. But I didn't check the recommendations on the site for this time. So I picked this lovely brown dress, and I did shorten it because the dresses are quite longer, and it's always interesting. I told about it before, how much difference only a few centimeters can make. I did fold it back, I think even 3 times. And before the last time I was doubting. I was looking in the mirror and asking my husband, and he said, no, you have to do it above your knees because it's looking better. Again, because I'm a small person. So I did, and now I'm feeling really good in it. But only a few centimeters longer can make me feel a little bit weird or something, that it doesn't match my body. And that's very interesting. I really learned it through the linen dresses and skirts, that only a few centimeters can make such a big difference. I must confess, I chose this color, chocolate brown, and it's a little bit of a cool shade of brown. It's really lovely, but a cool shade. And it doesn't match with a lot of my hand knitted items in my wardrobe. Let me show you. For example, this cardigan, this is my sock cardigan. This is a warm shade of brown. And I don't know if you can see it, but the difference between the cool shade of brown and the warm shade of brown, it's not really hard jumping to me. So I am very happy. My Sunday cardigan matches good, and yeah, I can also wear it. It's a long sleeve dress, so I can wear it with nothing on it anyway. But when I will cast on something new for myself, maybe I can check if it matches with this color, because it's not. I also put some elastic in the sleeves, in the end of the sleeves. They are quite fitted at this dress. I also did it at the other dress. I don't want to fold them back, and this way it looks a little bit more as what I like, so that's really nice too. And I'm wearing it with a long sleeve t-shirt under it. So yeah, really happy with this one. Okay, I have a finished object. These are a pair of socks for my little niece, and I really love it. I really love these tiny socks. I really love knitting them. I have new sock blockers. I really love them too. I will tell you all about it in a minute. It was just a hard jumping knitting project for me. A few weeks ago, I started quite impulsive a pair of socks for my little niece. I want to knit her socks for quite a while, but I want to knit her sweaters and cardigans and all the things, the same as I want to do for all my kids and my husband and myself and all the people. I am not home alone today, so interrupted every now and then. The socks for my little niece. I must confess I forgot where I was in my story. A few weeks ago I did cast on quite impulsive a pair of socks for my little niece in a hysterical colorway I had in my stash. Very bright pink and blue and white, very busy and not what I would normally pick, but I did buy quite a bunch of different colorways on our holiday a few years ago, so I could make scrappy socks, combine all the colors. It couldn't be crazy enough. And I decided to use one of those balls for toddler socks because it reminded me of one of the Disney movies. So I thought she would like it, and I added pink for toes and heels and cuffs, I guess. When I was checking a pattern, I found a free pattern on Ravelry. It's from Lettknit, a designer from a Norwegian designer, a designer from Norway, I'm sorry. The pattern is free on Ravelry and it's available in Norwegian and in English. And of course I picked the English version. My niece has size 27 right now. I don't know what that is in US sizes, but the pattern gives US and European sizes both. And the pattern told to cast on 48 stitches. And I thought that's way too much for that little girl. I have 56 for my size. So I decided to go down one size, but it was too small. When we tried a quick fit, she didn't like it. She didn't want the socks. So I take quite a risk by knitting her another pair. I did choose another colorway because, yeah, my need for hysterical colors was gone. It's already in my crochet blanket I will show in a minute. So I chose another yarn ball from my stash. This main color is a yarn from Long Yarns. I tried to search the colorway number, but I couldn't find it anymore. So maybe it is not available anymore, but it is Long Yarns Super Socks. It's one of their superwash sock yarns and they have a lot of color combinations available. And I'm quite sure it is Long Yarn Super Socks Twins, which makes that you can knit two identical socks, because I almost accidentally did, and it was not on purpose, so I think the yarn ball was meant to be. I used 36 grams for a 27 size toddler sock in total, and I added 2 stripes for just a nice effect, and the stripes are knitted in Filcolana Arbetta. This pink skein of yarn was gifted to me by a lovely Dutch shop owner. Her name is Klazien. During a knitting event, she shared all the Arbetta sock yarns with all the people, so that was very generous of her. And when I received this colorway, I immediately knew that I would knit something for my niece with it. So I did add 2 stripes. They are really lovely and nice, but they, if I would do it another time, I would make them a little bit wider. The socks are knitted cuff down, and you have a ribbed leg, knit 2, purl 2. It's my favorite stitch, and I am in knit 2, purl 2 team these weeks, so it was the perfect pattern for that. I did knit 4 rows with the main color and then 3 with the pink, 4 with the main color, 3 with the pink, and I think I would add 1 row to each of them if I would do it again, because they are quite narrow, the stripes. But anyway, I did like it. And you knit the cuff all rib, and then it's a heel flap and gusset, and the foot is plain stockinette. And I must confess, I don't like the look of it. You can see the picture of the pattern. It looks a bit weird, the small cuff and then that balloony weird shaped foot. But with the sock blockers, it all comes out pretty perfect. I really love that. I am in a heel flap and gusset phase in my life, in my sock knitting life. I am really a toe up sock knitter, but since a few weeks I want to knit all the cuff down socks. I started knitting socks cuff down with heel flap and gusset, and When I did it, my knitting muscles were very, very tiny and I had no idea what I was doing. I could do it. It did work out pretty good, but I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I didn't understand it. And now, a few years later, I think 5 years later, my knitting muscles did grow. Because I do know what I'm doing right now and I do understand what I'm doing right now, and that's really satisfying. And after just the easy peasy knitting, knit two, pull two in the round, it's nice that there is a little bit interesting happening. You have to knit the heel flap and then the heel turn and then the gusset, and then after that part it's just easy peasy knitting again, and then the toe. Yeah, I don't know. I love the rhythm of it at the moment quite much right now. So it's okay doing it. The socks became quite identical. I don't know if you can see it well on screen, but the toes are quite lighter. The yarn turns a little shade lighter. And I almost made them identical. You can see they start identical, and at the gusset there's happening something. I had the idea that I did more decreases there than I did on this sock, but I'm not quite sure. And you see at the toe, this is the brown. This seems a little bit shorter. This black speckles are in the toe, and on this sock they are here. I like the look of this, of course, more. I prefer that, but it are socks, so we don't worry about that. Yeah, and then when I was knitting the sock, it was really looking miserable. Yeah, when it was finished, and yeah, I was really blah. And then I noticed on Instagram that someone who I know from Knit Nights in my local yarn shop was selling sock blockers. She makes the sock blockers with her husband on a three-dimensional printer, and they have all the sock blockers in all the lovely colors, so also in brown, and that was really hard jumping for me to discover. I have my lovely wooden sock blockers. I really love them. They are also made by a Dutch maker. She will also sell them on Knit to Purl to Festival, and they are 2 sizes, so my size and 2 sizes bigger. So yeah, I don't know exactly the sizes actually, but I use them for grown-up socks. But I didn't have child sock blockers. I did have a baby one, and I really love the look of this, only not the color of this. This shade of orange is not really hard jumping to me. But when I saw those sock blockers, I really thought that I needed them in my life. So I asked if she also sells them in size 27, and she created them. So that was really lovely. And she has all the colors. I bought this. She brought them for me to Knit Night. And also a tiny, tiny baby pair in the color beige. But she had a box with all the colors in all the tiny baby sock blockers. She has all the shades of the rainbow and all the lovely muted shades. The brown and the moss green. And oh, it was so beautiful. And so it made me so happy. So I am really happy with those sock blockers. And yeah, you can see the socks right now. I blocked them and they did dry on the sock blocker, so the shape is very good right now. But before blocking, this was really narrow and this was really messy. And now with the sock blockers in it, yeah, it is hard jumping, and my knitting needs such a hard jumping shape. It's not necessary, of course, because it are socks. It is hard jumping, and we need hard jumping things in our lives, even if they are not necessary. So really happy with those. They did dry, and I can give them to my niece right now. I already bought a new skein of yarn for a second pair of socks. I really want to make pink. This is really lovely soft pink shade. It is commercial sock yarn. It's from a Belgian brand, and I did buy it at Knit Night last Thursday. I think the combination with the brown is really lovely, but I would love to knit little coffee bean socks. The coffee bean cardigan is hanging there. I don't think you can really see it, but little coffee bean socks for my niece in this size. But before I will cast them on, I need to know if the fit is really okay, and if it maybe needs a little bit of an adjustment, and if she wants to wear them anyway. This is really cheap commercial sock yarn, and I like that idea too, especially for children's socks. because she will grow out of these socks in a minute. And I was thinking, because I'm knitting them cuff down, it can be quite easily to remove the toe and knit a little bit of extra on it, because her feet will grow lengthwise faster, I guess. So maybe that will work out, I don't know. But I will do a quick fit and I will give them to her, just not really as a present, and maybe I can knit new pair of socks for as a Christmas present or whatever. We shall see. But I really love them. I will link the Etsy shop from Chiara. Did I mention her name? I don't know. Chiara from Willow Vine Knits. She is Dutch, but she has an English Instagram account, so you can check her out there. And she sells her sock blockers on Etsy. I think worldwide, but I'm not quite sure. You will love it, because all the colors and the aesthetics, I think you will love it. They are made from plastic, so they are very lightweighted, and it's absolutely different than my wooden ones. I really love my wooden ones too. I wouldn't replace them. Yeah, I love to have them both. What is very nice on these sock blockers is that they are open inside, so that's really good for drying. The drying of the fabric. It goes really quick, and it's really nice. So I'm a happy person with my new sock blockers, and also the baby ones. I have no babies in my life. I do have baby sock blockers in my life. I have a little project, my crochet blanket. I showed it last week. I did go out of my comfort zone. It's also quite hysterical, all the blue and pink, and I just needed to cast on a baby blanket, and it was my plan to make a big pile of baby blankets because they are perfect crochet process works. You enjoy the process of making it. The end result, the product, is not really important. You have product knitters and process crocheters and process crocheters, and sometimes you are focused on the process because you just want to enjoy the relaxedness of knitting or crochet, and sometimes you are focused on the product because you really need that sweater in your life. And sometimes it is both. Most of the time it is both, I guess. But I really needed a project on which I could focus on the process. Just crochet away all my bright colored cotton stash, and also enjoying the repetitivity of new stitch patterns, and yeah, without casting on a blanket which would take forever because it's such a big blanket, and I don't need such a color blanket in my life, but I really love to make it. It's really satisfying and heart jumping. So several people suggested that, oh no, they didn't suggest, but they did let me know that there are a lot of hospitals and organizations who are collecting handmade blankets to share with the little patients, with the little babies and the children. And I searched a little bit for that too. And also if my local hospital did do something with it. And I didn't deep dive in it, but it's absolutely an idea I will keep in mind, because I thought I can make a big pile of baby blankets and share with babies in my life when there come babies in my life, when there will be babies in my life. But it's also good to share them with people I don't know, who really need a warm layer of happiness, although it is cotton, so it's different than wool. But so I will keep it in mind, and I will crochet, let my pile grow, and then I will decide what I will do with it. I did weave in all my yarn ends this morning. I don't mind weaving in yarn ends, and that wasn't always the case. I really hated weaving in yarn ends, and I know a lot of other people share that opinion. But at one point, I also realized that it didn't make sense to hate something you must do anyway. So I tried to turn my hate for weaving in yarn ends into love for weaving in yarn ends. And it worked out pretty successful. If you watch my episodes for a longer time, I'm quite sure I already told this story once or twice or maybe more. But I love repeating myself. Ask my husband. So I will tell the story again. At one day I realized, okay, not weaving in yarn ends is not an option, because most of the times you can't just drop them, and you also can't just cut them away. And I also don't want to knit in one color only. I really love knitting and especially crocheting with several colors. So let's try to make weaving in yarn ends more attractive. And making it more attractive, what I did, I made an appointment with myself and I told myself, okay, Sunday is weaving in yarn ends day. So Sarah, you are only allowed to weave in yarn ends on Sundays. And at that moment, part of me did wake up. We are only allowed to? But why? Why? Because I don't really love restrictions. Something is getting interesting if you are not allowed to do it anytime. So for me, I fooled myself. So I saved all my yarn ends for Sundays. And on Sundays, I did check all my projects, everything that was on my needles, and I did weave in all the yarn ends. And in the beginning it was a lot of work, but after a few Sundays, because I did it every Sunday, it was just a small piece of time and I was on track with all my yarn ends again. So I never had that overwhelming feeling when you finish a project, especially a crochet project, with all the yarn ends, and that you think, oh no. And because I had my own restrictions only on Sundays, a part of me was really motivated, because when I have the restriction, don't eat chocolate, I want to eat chocolate. And if you have to have other restrictions, I just want that what's restricted. I don't know if it's human. I think a lot of people will recognize it. Yeah, so it worked pretty good. I was really looking forward to the Sundays. And even during the week, I really felt the need to weave in yarns. Oh, I would love to weave in yarn ends right now. It's not Sunday. You have to wait until Sunday. And that makes it really attractive for me. And I knew I was fooling myself, but it worked. So who cares? I didn't. I was having fun because I also could see how I was fooling myself. But I think it's good to have fun with yourself. I have every day. So yeah, it makes life easier. That's my experience. So after a while, weaving in yarn ends was not a problem for me at all. I really love doing it because that's interesting. The movement you make when you are weaving in yarn ends, it's actually quite similar to the movement you make when you are knitting or crocheting. It's just a repetitive movement. So if you are knitting stitches or crocheting stitches or weaving in stitches, it all has that relaxing rhythmic, which is so satisfying. So it was only the idea that I didn't like yarn weaving, because doing it was actually quite satisfying. So I enjoy it right now, and I don't do weave in yarn end Sundays for quite a while anymore. And I must confess, I save my yarn ends weaving in to the end of a project right now, because I also had certain experiences that I did weave in all my yarn ends, and then I noticed that I had to rip out or I had to go back, and it was only annoying that I already had woven in my yarn ends, because it was extra, it did take extra time to unravel that. And because it's not a problem anymore, it's not a problem to save it as the last step of a project. It's just, yeah, a heart jumping thing to do at the end. So today I did weave in all the ends. I did start yesterday evening, and the rest I did this morning, and it was really relaxing to do. I was sitting at my desk, the sun was shining on my back, and I was weaving in yarn ends in quietness. I was filming it with my phone for you, so I couldn't listen on an audiobook or a podcast or whatever. I didn't want to put on my laptop. I always watch YouTube videos on only on my laptop, never on my phone, but I didn't want to do that too. And it was really, that calm, quiet time was really relaxing. I think it's very healthy for your for everyone to be in a quiet and calm, to have some quiet and calm time every now and then, because you can fill in everything with noise, and the noise can be so interesting, but we need quiet times too. So it was really relaxing, and I enjoyed it. I didn't have enough yarn to finish all the granny stripes because I ran out of this color at this point. So I decided I finished the blanket with the color, the little bit of beige color I started it with. And I didn't want to do it with granny stripes, with the granny stitch. So I did crochet. In Dutch we call it halve stokjes. So I am always confused by the difference between English and US terms. So I think you call it half double crochets, or double crochets. I think that's the difference between the two languages, but it's only with one wrap around your needle. Yeah, and I think it turned out lovely. I made mistakes because it's going a little bit this way. I was crocheting it yesterday evening. It was dark. I had very less light and I didn't count because I have 90 stitches. I should have 90 stitches too here, but I ended with 83. So I didn't do it right, but it was not, there is a lot of stretch, more stretch in the fabric, I guess, than the granny stitch part. And I think, I don't know, normally I don't block my crochet blankets, but maybe I will do it right now. I will add the edge and I think it will be okay then. And I think it's really lovely when you fold it back. I didn't measure the blanket. It's always a bit 4 to 3. I don't know the English words for that, but I did it on my intuition. I just a look and I think it has the perfect size. And when it's finished, I will share all that information with you, of course. I will add a pink edge, very bright pink. This color I have the most, how do you say it? The most left from all the colors. So I will give it a pink edge and I don't know what I will do with the edge exactly. We just will let it happen and I will show you when it's done. Really lovely, relaxing, heart jumping project and I'm already thinking about my second baby blanket I will cast on. I have really no idea what I want to do. I have several wishes. Maybe I go for colorful squares. Finished with a brown edge because I have all those tiny yarn balls and I have a lot of them, so they are perfect for granny squares because you only need a very small amount for all the rounds in a granny square, so it's really a good stash buster. So we shall see. Okay. Oh, I forgot to show you something. I have a new sock casted on and I won't tell anything about it today. There's a special story behind it. But it has a little sock blocker, which I also bought together with the sock blockers. It is actually a stitch marker in the shape of the sock blockers and also the brown color. It's really lovely. And Chiara from Willow Vine Knits also sells those in her Etsy shop. Last week I showed you this beautiful skein. It was gifted to me by lovely Julia from Atelier Ooi. Julia's from Hungary. She lives in the Netherlands right now and she has her company. She dyes yarns in a natural way. And last week I showed you the label of this skein of yarn and I didn't understand what was on top of it. And I read quite some comments. It is from the ouessant sheep and I have no idea if I pronounce it right now. It is a French breed of sheep and a very special breed. It is the smallest sheep breed. And I did read all the comments with interest, but I didn't deep dive in it. But I really realize now that I can cherish this yarn. I already did, but it's very special yarn. And I definitely will search for more details when I will start knitting with it. It's feeling really nice and it's really beautiful yarn, but I want to learn more about it. So it's not... I think this will be a spring cast on, so when I will start knitting with it, I definitely try to figure out more information about the ouessant sheep. So thank you if you commented under my latest episode. It was really helpful. Okay. Oh, that's not cherishing your yarn. I'm sorry. I just threw it on the ground. Oh, don't do that. This is really ouessant yarn. Okay, I will bring it to the basket myself. Cherish your stuff. Okay, yes. yes, I think I told you everything I want to tell you. Okay, it's less than 2 weeks before the Knit to Pilto Festival will happen, and I'm really looking forward to that day. It was quite hard working last month, and I am really excited. It's almost time for the festival. I am really looking forward to all the guests and all the vendors and all the lovely people who will visit the festival. So it's also exciting because I think it will be really good and exactly how I want it to be. But it's a little bit exciting if it's also what other people want to. So we shall see. But I have quite a long to-do list, but a very clear to-do list. And I'm working very hard and very good. But I also have a little bit more knitting time than I had before, because most of the jobs, most of the work I already have finished. So it are details right now. If you will visit the Knit to Pilto Festival, you will receive an email later this week with all the practical information and also a little video with some, just a cozy chat and just a chat video with explaining some things and just a warming up, looking forward to the festival. If you can't visit the festival because it's too far away, I receive a lot of messages from people who really regret that they can't be there, and yeah, I really regret it too, but I also absolutely understand it. I see all the lovely festivals and events every now and then popping up on my Instagram or YouTube, and I never visited a yarn event out of the Netherlands, so I can completely understand you. Of course, I will share a little bit of pictures and a video when the festival is over, and so you can enjoy a little bit where you are. And I hope there's something organized around the place you live so you can visit it too, because I think it's really heart jumping to meet other people who love crochet and knitting, to share your passion and to just get inspired by all the lovely people wearing the beautiful things, selling the beautiful products, and just that. So yeah, I hope there is at least something organized in the place where you live. So yeah. So last things for that, and I'm also, I must confess, really looking forward to endless knitting time in December. I don't know if it will happen anyway, because it is still December, but I really have some interesting cast-ons for that month waiting, because I now am only doing some comfort knitting and crochet, very plain and straight, not difficult things, but my knitting muscles, they are getting a little bit weak, I guess. They need some exercise. So we need some more complicated patterns in our life too. So I am also really looking forward to that. Okay, I hope you will have a lovely week. I will be there this Friday with a Heart Jumping Friday video. You have access to that when you are a member of the membership on my YouTube channel. You can ask me all the questions and I will try to answer them, and I will give you a little sneak peek in my during the week live. If you are not a member of that part, you are welcome. Details you can find down below in the show notes, but I will be there with a video next week, of course. So I hope you have a very lovely week, filled with enough heart jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them, because we need them. Thank you for watching. Bye!